First of all, the hair. Let's just skip past it. I know it's giving very clown. We're doing a review on Vincenzo today. I'm just gonna get into it. So Vincenzo, another K-drama. Okay, first off, right off the bat, there's gonna be spoilers. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it. This one I would recommend you to watch, actually. It's pretty good, pretty decent. Also, I did read reviews, like other people's reviews and like other people's opinions on the show, and a lot of people didn't like it, and I was like, really? And after seeing other people's opinions, I was like, you're right. Was the show good, or were they all just hot? That's the real question. The series is about a lawyer, Vincenzo, who is also a part of the Italian mafia. After his father, the mafia boss, passed away, R.I.P. Fly High King. After he dies, Vincenzo decides to return to Korea and retrieve some gold that didn't belong to him. By the way, he ends up in a war basically between Babel and Guamga Plaza. We'll just call it the plaza because I don't know how to pronounce it. And he has no choice but to like stick through this war because he needs to get his gold at the end of the day. I'm just gonna give my opinions. Let's talk about the opening scene. I feel like it really sets the tone for the type of person Vincenzo is. Like he really only gives you like one chance, and then you'll be like, are you sure? Like, is that really what you want to do? Like, he's very vengeful. Like if you do something to piss him off, he is gonna get his revenge. Like he's gonna get back at you. He gives off Scorpio vibes for sure. Vincenzo's definitely a Scorpio with like maybe Capricorn moon. A psychopath. I'm kidding. It's very clear. Vincenzo obviously not a good person, and I feel like we should remember that. It should be in our heads, like at the end of the day he is the main character, but he's not a good person. Like it's hard to tell if Vincenzo is doing something bad to help the residents, or is he doing something good just to get his gold. Personally, I think he's doing something good just to get his gold. I mean, at the end of the day, he does help them in the end, and I feel like throughout the show he ends up actually caring about them and actually like feeling like they're part of, or he's a part of their family, or they all a family. Whereas Chaeyoung, on the other, she's willing to go to extreme measures, avenge her father, I guess. But at the same time, Chaeyoung was still a bad person. She was just as bad as everyone at Wustang law firm, at the law firm. Because she still would bribe people, she still would pay people off. She wanted to be victorious with each of her cases. She wanted to be like the best lawyer. Even though she was doing something bad, she just wanted to be the best lawyer. And I feel like it was just to spite her dad. It's like, I'm also a lawyer and I'm better than you. With Vincenzo, she like was like ready to kill. She was ready to murder. She was ready to kidnap people. Yeah, it's kind of like Vincenzo had some influence in her becoming bad, and she had some influence in him becoming good, if that makes sense. Like, I do feel like just try to not draw too much attention to himself while he was in South Korea, because he didn't want to like go to jail. He didn't want to go to jail, but he just didn't want them to figure out where he was. Like, he wasn't just going around killing everyone. Like, he could have, but he didn't. So the type of person that he is kind of creeps me out. Like, he won't hurt you, he won't just kill you then and there, but he'll torture you and like play on your fears almost, and then kill you. Something about that just scares me. Like, I would rather just die. Like, just kill me. That's what he did with Hansuk. I feel like one thing though that the show really lacked was just exploring the character's past, especially the main character's past. Obviously they really only did this with Hanso, I feel like, and even then it wasn't that much. They really only spoke about what he did to those kids in school, how he killed his father, which really made you get more attached to him. I just feel like the Jung brothers really stole the show. Like, even though they're villains, it was like their show. They only really kind of just threw these characters at us, and like they only developed after the fact that this show had started. They never showed the past. And I feel like because they didn't show a lot of their past, it's harder to relate to them as characters. Not that you're gonna be relating to like the freaking mafia, but it would just give you something to like, oh, okay, that's why they act like this, that's why they do this. There were a lot of questions, at least that I had, that were just not answered with the show. Like, just left for me to just have to figure it out on my own. Especially when Cha Young's dad died. It was just like, oh, okay, he's dead. Aww. I didn't feel as sad as I probably should have, because she is still a main character. I should have been like heartbroken, but I wasn't, because I didn't even know what happened between them. Oh, this and this happened to make Cha Young and her dad stop talking, to the point where he disowned her. Like, that's not like just something we can just assume on our own. Like, all we really know is that when he died, she regretted the relationship that she had with him, to the point where she wanted to get revenge for him. But there was still a lot of unanswered questions there. Like, as far as Vincenzo goes, all we really know about him is that he became an orphan. We know how he became an orphan, you know, his mom just couldn't do it. And we really know that he was in the mafia, but they could have spoken a lot more on like how he became a part of the mafia. Like, they just adopted him and like, okay, you're in. We kind of established that him and his brother had beef, but once again, no real questions were answered on how the beef came about. Like, was it just because they didn't respect him? Like, what? Like, was it something else? They never even really spoke about the brother. They just kind of like showed him in that one scene, blew up his car and then bounced. Like, hello? We don't even know about his adoptive mom. Did he have an adoptive mom? None of that was answered. Like, did he just grow up momless? Boy had mommy issues and we didn't even know why. Like, hello? And all we ever really saw of his past as like a mafia member were just flashbacks. But they weren't even giving anything in those flashbacks. Like, all I really gathered was that he killed someone and the kid was in the car. Those flashbacks were not giving what it was supposed to give. Even like little things like why he quit smoking, why he was so attached to those lighters, why he enjoyed arson so much. He like just loves lighting things on fire, and we don't know. We will never know. I feel like just those little things, like, it really helps you to understand him more, understand the type of person he is. Like, really, is all you're gonna give us that he's in the mafia? For such a long series, a lot of it was spent on irrelevant things and not something important like developing the characters more. Another common theme in this series is that they kind of relate these companies, these law firms, these government organizations to being like the mafia. And we see once again that rich people in power can just do whatever they please and just get away with it because they can just pay someone off and it's gone. Like, we saw a lot more murder from these companies than we did from the actual mafia themselves. Like, so I feel like Vincenzo is the type of person who's very smart. He's very, very smart, but he's so slow. Like, how do you arrive in Korea? The first 15 minutes you're getting drugged and robbed. Like, hello, wake up. Get it together, Vincenzo. Like, what are you doing, sir? It just takes him very long to realize things, and it's like, aren't you in the mafia? Aren't you supposed to be on your toes? You're supposed to be thinking ahead of people, not being like delayed. Like, hello. Throughout the show, it was like a back and forth struggle of just him trying to get the gold that didn't even belong to him, by the way. He was able to gold and only the gold, and I feel like we should all remember that, not just me. Like, I kept just throwing it aside. Like, yeah, he did end up helping people, but he was there for the gold, and at the end of the day, he lived with the gold. He did give some, I guess, to the resident, but at the end of the day, homeboy was sitting on his private island that he bought, chilling like it was nothing. That auntie, all she did was dance and annoy the hell out of me. She got on my nerves with her dancing, with her eating habits. Like, oh, I hate people who eat with their mouths open and talk while they eat. Like, every time she would come on screen, I got an aneurysm, I got a headache, I got brain damage, I lost a few cells. Get her off the screen, please. She was by far the worst part of this. She really did so much. And also, ma'am, how are you gonna kiss a man's ass like that? Like, she did everything to get on Han-suk's good side. Like, God, it's not even that deep. It's not even that deep. The best part about the show, the best part, was the plot twist that Janwoo was Han-suk and actually the owner of the company, and actually Han-suk's brother. Like, that was a whoa. That's how you do a plot twist, because I was twisted and I was like, oh my gosh, I trusted you. The Jang brothers stole the freaking show. They were the best part of the show. I wish that Vincenzo would have actually told his mom, like, hey, I'm pretty sure I'm your kid. She didn't realize it too at the end, but I feel like he should have just told her immediately so he could have had more time with her. His mom also went to jail, and I feel like that too is like, she lost out so much on her life, but she was fine with it because she knew, like, at least my child is doing better, I guess. But he wasn't, because who can be doing okay without their mom? Let's be real, yeah. I know I wouldn't be. Another thing, Hanso wasn't as dumb as people thought he was. He was a lot smarter than people thought he was. He was also really good at acting. Both of those brothers give them awards because he would just sit there and like pretend to be all scared in front of his brother, but then once the brother was like gone, he was just like, what the fuck? Like that one scene where Hansuk threw the glass at him and like he was like, oh. Hansuk left, he just sat down carrying on eating his food like it was nothing. He also teamed up with Vincenzo without his brother knowing. His brother never knew a thing. Hansuk is supposed to be the one who's like the brains of the operation, but clearly your brother went behind your back many times and you blind, like you didn't even see it. He was the hero of the show, I feel like. He saved Vincenzo and Chaeyoung and he risked his life. And he's the real hero and I feel like he should be the main character. That's how I feel. And I loved him. He was my favorite character and I feel like he made the show 10 times better. The Plaza residents also carried the show. Also the guy who was like a part of the FBI or whatever, he was my second favorite character. I have to say it. He was so funny. And you would just be like trying to catch Vincenzo but then end up like falling in love with Vincenzo. It was so funny.
저 한 번만 안아주기. 예. 예? 그래요.
The way Vincenzo killed them at the end, Miss Auntie and Hansuk, it just made me like cringe. It made me, I don't like, I hate to think about people dying alive. What? He burned the auntie alive. Just let her burn alive and then he like drilled a hole into Hansuk. Oh, and it wasn't even like a quick drill. It was like days. And then the blood. Oh, just, I liked it because we finally got to see Mr. Mafia doing actual mafia things. he really like just let them get tortured. Like, someone has a torture king, if you ask me. Made me feel a little sick to my stomach. I felt for them a little bit. Not really because they were evil, but my heart's going pitter patter, pitter patter. I feel sick, like I could throw up. The funniest part of the show was how no one ever called Vincenzo by his proper name. Vincenzo Casanova. The auntie called him Croissano. She called him Vincenzo Croissano. They were all calling him like a corn salad instead of a consiglia, like, and he would just have to deal with it. Like, he couldn't say anything. Next we're gonna talk about some beefs that I had with this series. I'd say some things about the show. Like, I can't love the entire show. The first thing that really annoyed me was how they never knew how to shut up. Obviously they didn't know that Jungwoo was their enemy. Who are you really gonna have loyalty for? A girl who you liked for 10 minutes, or like the company you work for? Like, obviously he might share your plans and like you don't want to compromise yourself, which y'all did many times. And I was like, can y'all shut up? Y'all keep quiet. A lot of the things that they did to Babel and to Woo-sung were just pranks. They were just pranks. They weren't even like actual like revenge plots. They weren't even actual like mafia things. You're working with a guy who's supposed to be a part of the mafia. Is supposed to be intimidating. We're gonna take them out mafia style. But really, I just felt like I was watching Jake Paul's YouTube videos in 2016. You know what I mean? Like, also, if you're gonna have as many characters as you do be lawyers, they should be doing lawyer things. They were always like playing around in court instead of finding ways to help the people that you're currently working for, like helping them out of their situations. You're gonna release bees into the courtroom, so that wouldn't happen in a courtroom. They always just did nonsense in the courtroom. I just wish like those scenes at the very least, like the courtroom scenes, the scenes where they were actually being lawyers, I wish it could have been more serious. That's all. I feel like there's a time and a place to joke around and be funny. That is not the time or the place. So my camera died, so I just did the last of my makeup off camera. I put these little stars on. It was very long, and I feel like it's okay if it's long. I don't mind the length. I feel like if you're gonna have a show be that long, at least fill it with relevant stuff. They could have used so much time developing Vincenzo and Chaeyoung's character. They just spent a lot of that time on dumb little scenes. Sometimes the comedy aspect of the show, it was just like a bit too much comedy. Like, there were times where they should have been serious. Like, they were just doing a bit too much, you know? Like, the soundtrack was dead. It was the same one song over and over again. Go. So I didn't like the romance aspect, and now hear me out. Okay, I love romance. Romance K-dramas are my favorite. But you know, when you watch like an action show, they always have like, they'll always have like a love interest, and I feel like it's fine if you're gonna do it. Like, if you're gonna do it, go for it. Go full on. They just had a few cute moments. They kissed once or twice. It shouldn't have been there. They could have just been friends. Like, it felt like someone was sitting there like, oh, men and women cannot be friends. Like, why couldn't they just have stayed friends throughout the whole show? I loved their friendship. I loved, but I just didn't get the romance. Like, they should have just left. Another thing is that Chaeyoung was kind of useless. The character was really funny. I loved her. I loved her energy. I loved her bad bitchiness. But she never contributed anything. She never gave ideas. She never like said we should do this, we should do that. And by the end of the day, it was still her battle. The writers just had all the shine on Vincenzo. It was always Vincenzo telling them what to do, Vincenzo giving them ideas, this and that, you know, and then just acting on what Vincenzo is saying, which kind of feels a little sexist. not gonna lie, a little misogynistic. It's not like she was not capable, but like it's just like her character was just there to be pretty and to just do what Vincenzo wanted. Like, you know. It also felt a little Wattpad-y. Oh my god. I felt like I was reading a Wattpad book because of the pure fact that they did nothing. They had nothing to do with the mafia. Yes, he was from the mafia, but they would always say they're gonna do things like in a mafia way, but they never did that. Like basically the last few episodes, that's what I kind of feel like it should have been throughout. And also when you're talking about something real life, like the Italian mafia is a real thing, you could do some research, you could find the real things that they've done and like incorporate it in. They were relating these regular Korean people to the Italian mafia, which is fine, but why were the regular Korean people doing worse things than supposedly the Italian mafia, which is Vincenzo? They did worse things throughout the series than he did. Maybe I'm nitpicking. Okay, so I don't think the show was bad, but I don't think it was the best. I think it was just good enough. I liked it because it was funny and also because it was opening up to something new. Like I haven't watched a K-drama of this style. The plot was good, they didn't just do random things, and it's better than a lot of other K-dramas that I've seen. I liked the story and I liked the idea. Also, I don't know much about movies and shows. I just kind of watch them to just watch them. I never really analyze them or get deep down into it, so I can't really give a good opinion. Like when I actually sat down and wrote this like review out, then I was like, wait a minute. These things are just kind of but when I watch it, I enjoy it and I find it really funny. And that's it for today's review, kids. Let me know if you enjoyed this one better because I wasn't ranting too much. Also, tell me if you like this look. It's giving very Scooby-Doo. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. To like and subscribe and leave a comment, and also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Anyways, see you next time, besties.